Relentless at blasting the landscape. Millions of trees have been brought down.
The northeast of England has been hit really hard. A great knot here in Cumbria, which is one of our larger woods. We've lost over a third of the woodland.
This is the heart of the Lake District. Kelvin Archer manages the Woodland Trust's forests in the north of England.
It's a big oak, isn't it? It's a real shame it's gone.
He spends most of his time now assessing damage. His dog always with him.
Predominantly this normally happens in Scotland, which this year has been hit horrendously hard by the storms. It doesn't normally come down this far. We had the Beast of the East a few years ago that did hit us here, but the last couple of years we've been hit again and again. North East is starting to look a bit like Scotland for wind blow and wind damage and storm damage, and now we're getting over in Cumbria. So there's a clear pattern of change.
Close to the shore of Lake Windermere, this is Ray Castle. There's clearing up happening here too. The storms have cost the National Trust around £4 million. The charity says already it's been the worst season for 40 years. It says that in a huge blow to British heritage, many iconic trees have been lost.
So this is a national champion crested beech. It's a champion of Britain and Ireland because it's the biggest tree of that species in terms of girth. When you lose any big, really big, prominent tree, it's sad, and this one particularly because it's been at Ray Castle for a long time. It's an important tree because it's the biggest, and to see it blown over is really sad. I think it's probably a Douglas fir.
Richard takes us deep into the worst hit area. It's still closed to the public. Many of these trees have been weakened, and his team hasn't yet been able to make it safe. This is the kind of hidden damage that forest managers are really worried about. Across the UK, there are hundreds of thousands of giant trees like this that have fallen. Many of the felled trees can be sold for timber, but there are so many of them that they're likely to fetch a lower price. But storm damage can have its benefits. Bonnie Waring is a senior lecturer at Imperial College London.
When a tree falls down, it creates a gap in the canopy that lets light through. That helps light-dependent species thrive. And the dead tree itself is a really important habitat for species that are of conservation concern.
However, Richard admits finding the scale of the restoration work ahead daunting and depressing.
If you look at all the smashed tops of the trees, it kind of reminds you a bit of those photos you see of a battlefield. I've never seen a battlefield, but the pictures you see, the trees sort of look like that. It just looks like somebody's set off a bomb.
And now Storm Dudley is on its way. The horizon is darkening once again. Winter isn't over yet. Can the survivors stay standing? Claire Martin, BBC.
Well, good evening. Welcome to Environmental Coffee House. I am Sandy Shellis, and with me is my partner, Jennifer Hines. And we have a good show for you tonight. After all of the craziness, we're going to take a look at the UK and Brazil. And hi, Jen. How are you?
Hey, Sandy. I'm good. I'm good
Yeah.
today. How are you?
What's happening? Anything
Well,
interesting?
oh, not necessarily in my world. Nothing interesting there.
Nothing interesting. Oh, my world is basically crazy, but everybody
Yeah.
knows that.
I know. I know. I'm hoping for a new computer for you.
Yeah, hopefully we will. I
Yeah.
think it's going to happen. It will happen. But we don't need to talk tacky tonight. I already did
Yeah.
all that whining, and
Oh,
we have a busy show. We have a very busy
we
show. So
do.
why don't you take it away and let us know what's happening tonight? And
Yeah.
I just say hi, everybody.
Hey,
Hi.
everybody. So this is kind of abrupt climate change around the world. I mean, it's happening everywhere. So we're going to start out with an article, ABC News, and it is about the big storms they've been having in Europe. Western Europe cleans up after storm leaves at least 12 dead.
Mm.
So tons and tons of fallen trees, especially in Ireland and Britain. Then we're going to jump over to severe weather EU, severe weather Europe. Polar vortex gives no rest for the North Atlantic as a new monster storm, Franklin, heads for Ireland and
Oh
the
yeah.
UK on Sunday, that be today,
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure there's people
Followed
might be
by
with us.
followed by another bomb cyclone for Iceland on Monday. So it's
Jeez.
kind of amazing. It's like all over. We're going to briefly visit an article from The Guardian, probably not read the whole thing. How bad is Storm Eunice? And is it a result of climate breakdown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're busy.
And then, yeah, I know. And you're going to go through, I think, AccuWeather, right, Sandy?
Yeah, we're going to
And
plug in Scotland, actually, and see what's going on in Scotland and maybe a couple of other
oh,
places. It would be cool, right? We'll just see what's
well,
happening.
well, Franklin is supposed to be hitting like
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah,
Up in Scotland.
yes, yes. And we'll see what AccuWeather shows. That's the only one I
Mhm.
pulled up. So hopefully they are accurate. Yes,
Accurate in AccuWeather.
accurate, accurate. Mm-hmm.
And then we have one from directrelief.org, severe weather compounds challenges in Brazil and Madagascar. So this is referring to the huge mudslides that they've been having over in those countries. And we've got a bunch of photos of what happened in Brazil. Flooding, landslide, kill at least 94 in Brazil in that big
Yeah,
mudslide. Petropolis City Hall declares
the
3
whole
days of
city.
mourning
The whole city's gone.
as displaced people are taken to schools and shelters. Amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And then we might visit one from Al Jazeera, Sandy, Brazil, climate change, neglect contribute to deadly mudslides.
Okay. All right. Yes, we
Right.
have
So,
them. We do. Well, I guess we should
yeah.
get started. I hope you guys like that video
Yeah.
montage I put together from what I found around the
It's so
web.
good.
Let me tell you something, it could have been a half an hour because there's that much happening. I mean, we even remember that just last month, was it, or the month before, that Japan had 42 inches of snow.
Oh my
And
God.
there are fires in Paraguay in the forests. There's so much happening. We just decided
Hmm.
that we would cover Europe tonight, or we would be here for
Yeah.
4 hours. We would be here
Yeah.
for more than four
Yeah.
hours.
Oh, I
Hmm.
forgot about the little dolphin. Where's the little Irrawaddy
Oh,
dolphin?
you
Where'd
want to
you put
show the little
him?
guy? let me show that you want to.
Yeah.
We could talk about this little guy if you want to talk about
Yeah.
him.
I do.
All
I
right, we're going to
do.
start out with this guy and then we're going to move over
Mm.
because
It's a very
let's
sad
let's
story.
let's start out with this guy and go ahead,
Yeah.
Jennifer.
So this is actually something I found in the Laotian Times, believe it or not. Um, and the Irrawaddy dolphin is a freshwater dolphin, and it's lived forever in the Mekong. It has always been rare. It hasn't been like a huge number of these guys, but they've always been around, and they live in the rivers. So the last Irrawaddy dolphin dies in waters between
Oh my
Cambodia
God.
and Laos. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last freshwater Irrawaddy dolphin living on a section of the Mekong River bordering northeastern Cambodia and Laos has died, reportedly as a result of becoming entangled in a fishing net. How sad, right?
Very sad.
The, yeah, and they've been watching this guy, trying to be careful of him, but he got caught up. The dolphin was found dead on Tuesday on a riverbank in Stung Treng province near the border with Laos, according to Cambodia's Fisheries Conservation Department. Although provincial wildlife authorities were aware that the lonely animal, he was the last one left, he was lonely, had been unwell for more than a month, officials said a lack of specialized equipment and training meant providing assistance to the dolphin had proven difficult. In other words, they couldn't do anything. Shrey Sam Viket, head of the Provincial Fisheries Administration, told Cambodia media yesterday that the dolphin was found dead near the shore close to where it had lived. It had fallen ill and may have died because of wounds from becoming entangled in the fishing
Cute
net.
little
But
guy.
they're very gentle creatures, and now they're gone. That's it. They're
Now they're
finished.
gone.
And extinction is forever. And there was always something magical about having a gentle freshwater dolphin in the Mekong River. I just love that.
Television. Jen, now that we're talking about extinction, we might as well just have a little RIP for our friend. I'm going to show you guys, but our friend in the left corner there on the bottom, that was Lord Hugh, or a dumbass. He had a channel, but he was a very big, he was really smart. He was a, well, I don't know if I should play any of this, but we did a whole thing, and maybe I just won't play it, but there he is, Lord Hugh.
Yeah.
He had
Well,
started
notably,
his
he lived on a boat, right? In Greece.
in
In
Greece.
the
He
harbor
lived, yep,
somewhere.
after he left Washington State, he went to Greece. He lived in a beautiful boat, and his real name was Ian, and
Yeah.
and he came up with this whole, oh my gosh, the alien cortex. He had a whole theory, but then he had his Reddit page was called Extinctionati, the
Okay.
Extinctionati. So, if anybody's interested, that was there he is in the bottom left, and I was kind of shocked because I mean we were chatters, but I hadn't talked to him in a while. That was with
Mhm.
Kevin and you and
Yeah,
Torstein,
yeah.
the person formerly known as Torstein, and but it's over.
Um,
Maybe he's better off for it. I mean, maybe he's the
do
lucky
we
one.
know anything about the circumstances surrounding his death?
No, I just was told. Somebody asked me, and then someone else said it in a chat last week. But I would imagine he had a heart attack. I think because
Boy.
what I heard was that he kind of keeled over doing a
Oh,
video, but I can't tell. But the
oh my
video,
God.
yeah, I'm not kidding. And the last
Oh my
video,
God.
yes, Jennifer, and the
He
last
died
video,
online?
that's what might have happened because the video's down. But he
Jesus.
was really, I mean, if I played this, he was a big proponent of a debt strike worldwide where we real for for the climate change and wow, how long ago he wants to know how long ago this show was. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It was a couple,
Uh
like, what, 3 years ago or
three
something?
3 years, May 10th,
Yeah.
2019, 2021. Boy, have I
Okay.
changed. Life changed.
19, 20, 20, yeah, it was
Everybody's
3 years ago.
changed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So RIP, Lord, you are a dumbass of the Extinctionati on Reddit if you want to find Extinctionati. And that's it. That's it.
Well, rest in peace, Lord
Rest
Hugh.
in peace. Yeah.
He was a
Why don't we
unique
give
one,
him,
for
we're going
sure.
to give him a, this is for you, Lord. Hope you're up there and you are just looking down at us saying, okay, I'm the lucky one now. Whatever, wherever your body goes or your whatever.
Wherever your spirit goes.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Okay.
Yeah.
Unless he just decided to drop dead on camera and go back to his life as Ian. Who knows?
I mean, that's a really dramatic way to go and sort
Isn't
of
it?
shocking.
It
Yeah,
is. It's
really
completely
shocking.
shocking. It's completely
God,
shocking. All right. So
horrible.
we're going to segue then right back into, ooh, I'm kissing my microphone here. We're going to segue back to Europe and look at the polar vortex, which gives no rest for the North Atlantic as a new
Yeah.
monster storm, Franklin. It's there now. Okay. And then, like you said, the bomb cyclone. So, as we showed in our video, hundreds of trees were uprooted, containers. Now, if I'm going to play any videos, which I don't think, I have to change the screen, but containers in ports flipped, at least 12 fatalities and multiple injured residents. How do I get rid of this ad on the bottom? Multiple injured residents. That's the toll of a historic storm, Eunice, the strongest Atlantic cyclone in decades that brought destructive havoc to Western Europe on Friday. It will last 3 days to recover, but the weather gives no rest for the region. Yet another potentially violent windstorm, Franklin, is expected to blast across Ireland and the UK on Sunday night, which is already happening. So
Right.
it's been
That is
happening.
now.
Yes, with hurricane force winds expected again. Then a new Bob cyclone follows it Monday as the polar vortex above us is unusually intense. I mean, we all know a polar vortex is a normal occurrence. So you can't say it's not, but it is unusually crazy. The polar vortex. I think they're getting
Cray
crazier.
cray.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cray
it's
cray.
getting cray
So
cray.
see how it looks on there. I made it bigger so you could see it. I wish I could block this goddamn ad. Sorry, guys. Whoop! Well, now it's gonna show.
Mm.
Ay, ay. That's the problem with these. When you use these articles,
Mm-hmm.
you lose things because the ads come on. It's really annoying. So, violent windstorm, Eunice, it ripped across Ireland, Wales, England, the English
Wow.
Channel into northern France and Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany on Friday, leaving several, maybe 100,000 homes without power in the UK alone. The transport network had been severely affected as Eunice brought destructive winds up to 200 was that a kilometer?
Yeah, kilometers
125
per hour.
yeah, a mile per hour. And I forgot to
Wow.
ask you, I didn't ask you before you lived in Laos,
What?
didn't you? About the article
What?
before you lived in Laos,
Yeah.
didn't you? Yes, you
Yeah.
were. I
Yeah.
forgot to say
Yeah.
that.
I grew
That's
up
why
there
this,
as a kid. It was just a
right.
weird circumstance.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
sorry about that. It was the
No,
dolphin,
no.
and I wanted to bring that up to you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that you live there.
absolutely.
All right. So the
Yeah.
Met office had a A rare red warning issued, while our forecasters have issued a high risk for violent winds on Friday. High winds led to school closures, numerous flight cancellations, and I think everybody saw the clips of the planes trying to land in
Oh,
Heathrow that were
yes.
just
Oh, yeah.
bashed back and
Skipping
forth.
along.
Yeah, very scary. Um,
Yeah.
they closed, and there was one fatality and a number of injured due to falling trees and flying debris with violent winds. The Isle of Wight reported a
White,
record-breaking. Oh, White. I'm
white,
sorry.
white.
My eye. Put an R there.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
the Isle of Wight, I'll cover the bad eye, reported a record-breaking wind gust of 122 miles per hour for England, surpassing the previous
Whoa.
record of 118, set in
Whoa.
1979 at the Gwenep Head in Cornwall. Gusts from
Yeah.
150 to 180 kilometers were reported from many areas. So look at the satellite image from Saturday. We can see quite a similar pattern is developed as it's been with Dudley and Eunice storms a few days ago. Eunice is departing the Baltic region while large new upper wave disturbance is taking shape over the Atlantic Ocean. What a mess.
Right. Now is that what they call Franklin? That big thing?
Yeah, see it? Yep.
Yeah.
That big thing. That big
That
thing.
big thing.
It's
And it
your
looks
thing.
like
The big
Ireland and
thing.
Britain, they're right in the crosshairs. It's
Yep.
just a perfect storm. See that black arrow and then that red arrow?
Make
And
it
that's
bigger.
like X
Yeah.
marks the spot.
Wow.
That's really X marks the spot. It's going right into, looks like Scotland. I think it's a little bit more northerly than the last storm.
Gazer
looks
said
like.
the Isle of Wight is very exposed. Very exposed.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So to the north of the front zone, these ads. I hate them. To the north of the front zone, a massive Arctic cold blast is spread from Canada and across the Labrador Sea into the northwest Atlantic, with this forming wave disturbance well seen by the cloud pattern on its front edge. Meanwhile, much warmer air is being advected towards Europe, with the zonal flow to the north of the Azores high. The analysis of surface patterns, I'm going to bring that up, look, reveals a large depression is organizing south of Greenland with an extremely long 3,000 plus frontal baroclinic zone extending southwest all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. The setup has all conditions in place to become another particularly dangerous weather system for the region. So look at.
I'd just like to call to mind the sheer scale of this weather system. 3,000 kilometers of frontal baroclinic zone. I mean, from Greenland to the Gulf of Mexico. What the hell?
We should have invited Nicholas. Yeah, this is pretty hairy.
Yeah.
It's pretty hairy
It
stuff.
really is.
So I feel for you guys over there. That's why we wanted to, it's not always the United States. It's like everywhere all the time. The system, they said, you know what, I'm going to move down to here, which is showing Storm Franklin, because that's the next violent windstorm, and it's happening now. So I don't know if this probably doesn't have any
local hospitals and their dedicated caregivers
Unreal.
are always there for us. But a
Unreal.
skyrocketing Medicaid population and the COVID-19 crisis.
Do you want to see it, guys? Because there's an ad playing.
So
can we turn it down? Can we turn that
ad
down?
They can't hear it. We
can.
can. We just
Really?
Okay. Let's see what. Yeah, they can't. Here
Look
we
at
go.
that.
See?
That thing is like X marks the spot. Wow.
Yeah.
It's hard to see where it is, but then you can see Britain. It's small, and it's actually dead center. Britain and Ireland
Wow.
are dead center in this picture, and you can see it just being slapped silly by these weather systems. Look at that. Boom. Wow. It's insane.
So
Oh yeah, and
our
England is
hearts are
supposed to
with
be
you.
so calm. My sister who lives in eastern England in Essex, she's like, "Well, Jenny, you guys have such big storms over there. We don't have anything like that over here. It's just boring." I'm like, "Oh my God. Well, just wait, little
Yeah, just
sister."
wait. There you
Local
go.
hospitals and their dedicated
Well,
caregivers
here's
are always good for
another.
us. But a
Wait a minute.
skyrocketing Medicaid
Do you hear
population and the
something?
COVID-19 crisis brought them to the
I
Okay, you
do.
guys, I did. They can't. It's these ads go on drive us crazy. So let's look at this. This was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at how our atmosphere is made. Let's go over this again. There are
Yeah.
6 layers that are rounding the earth, and I know that
Can,
our lovely
can you
Nicholas
go
has talked
down
about this.
a tiny little bit? Can
Yep,
you go
I'm going to
down
bring
a
it.
tiny little bit?
We're going to look at all these dynamics and most of our weather,
There it
which
is.
occurs in the troposphere and the stratosphere. Jennifer, why don't you explain what we're looking at? It's
Oh, well,
beautiful.
just layers of atmosphere, going further and further out. What is really unusual is when you get into the quote exosphere, right? It's very spread out. But each individual molecule, when you do run into a molecule, is 1200 degrees centigrade.
Wow.
It's really counterintuitive, but that's how it works. And yeah, it's just progressively lighter and lighter layers, as we've named them, of the
They can
atmosphere.
hear the ads.
Right.
Okay. Sorry. They can hear the ads. I did not
Hmm.
know that. I did not
Yeah.
know that. Usually when it's a screen share, they can't. All right.
Uh-huh.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah. Well, when we
Yeah.
play them, maybe you can turn them down on your
Well,
computer so
yeah,
they don't.
I didn't know they were playing. It was playing in the background. All right, guys. So exosphere, that's where what's his name was putting the satellites, Elon Musk that blew up.
God
Elon,
love them.
Elon.
God love them.
Yeah, right. Elon.
I just don't know what to say about Elon Musk. He's such
I
a
do.
smart person,
You
and he's
know, I
such a
know, of
stupid
course.
person.
He's such an idiot,
He's
but here.
stupid and smart at the same time.
Bye, Elon. Goodbye. There. I'm getting my mojo on. We flush Elon. But that's where the satellites are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're polluting and
That's
screwing
right.
up the troposphere and the stratosphere. Wouldn't it not, I'm thinking, why don't the scientists try to they want a carbon capture? Why don't they pipe it all up to the exosphere and see what happens? All the carbon. Hey, if there's a scientist out there looking at this, there's somebody that's trying to come up with a creative solution. There always will be.
Yeah, I'm sure there
There
will be a
will.
lot of solutions as we go
There
down the
will.
toilet,
So let's
you
go
know.
back. This one has some good. It shows the atmosphere through altitude,
Yeah,
and these are
yeah.
pretty
This
cool.
is it is
There's a
very
much.
interesting because these are actually three-dimensional corkscrew type
Yeah,
graphs, right?
yeah.
And it shows the swing in the temperature back and forth, how it gets hotter and in some phases and then it cools down again. It's kind of bizarre. You wouldn't expect it, you know?
Pretty wild. Pretty
Right.
wild. Yeah, this article had some nice, and then all the time talking about the most important part that triggers all the weather is the polar vortex in the stratosphere. And that we all know, I'm sure, if you follow us, all about the polar vortex that and I'm sure here we go, the science behind it.
Mhm.
There it
That's
is.
right.
There it is. The
Yes,
strong
it's a
jet
melting
stream.
ice cream cone. It's a melting ice cream cone.
A melting ice cream cone. Look at
It
that.
is. Yeah.
Melting ice cream. Oh, Jim's with us. Yeah, he says,
Right, Jim?
Hi, Jim. We have perturbed the system greatly. Earth is trying to find its new equilibrium state, but we can't due to constant perturbations. Result,
I love
extreme
that.
weather, wild temperature swings, and more intense storms. Okay, there's the show. I mean,
That's great.
yeah.
Hey, Jim.
Hey,
You should
Jim.
probably come on and do this show.
I know. I know. Well, I didn't. He's probably not even ready if I sent a link anyway. And I don't know. This
No, so
computer's not handling all this crap.
we
It is
got we
right
got a
now.
big show here.
Yeah.
We got a big show here.
So this is the conclusion of the article. Both the troposphere and the stratosphere layers are particularly crucial for the climate we live in, as the polar vortex actually covers most of the bottom of the atmosphere, extends from the middle of the Earth's troposphere up into the stratosphere layer. Therefore, the polar vortex has the main role in winter weather across the high and mid latitudes, as we could see across North America, Europe, Asia, and indeed the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Looks like it looks like a drape uh, on a table. So look at, oh man, nice graphics in this article.
Yeah,
And see,
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
we're
And,
sitting
and
behind.
not only look at the dark blue, right? But also look at the red that's wrapping around the dark blue. That thing is heading through Siberia and ending up on the other
Yeah,
side, just on the other side of Alaska. This thing, it looks like a yin yang sign, right?
doesn't it? Oh my
It does.
gosh,
It
you're
totally
right.
does.
We got
Yeah.
a yin yang going here, babe. Look at that. So,
Yeah.
it is above our heads. Oh, look at there's even more. I knew this. I forgot this article had so much
It's
going
really
for it.
long.
It is, but I love the graphics and you see, now it's telling us about the 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 northern hemisphere polar regions. They start to receive less and less sunlight over time, which Jim can tell us because he lives in
Mhm.
Alaska. This is the
Mm.
consequence of the stronger inclination of the Earth's axis as the North Pole is sent into position that it starts cooling down. And as a result, polar nights occur for several months with days without any sunlight following. See, Jennifer? Where the Arctic
Mhm.
Circle, the Tropic of Cancer, the
Mm.
Equator Tropic. This is the coolest article. I'm gonna have to go over it again
It
thoroughly
is.
because I did, but not as deep when I was getting the ready for our show. I like this. This is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good website anyway. Um, so they said in the time that they get colder and colder, the atmosphere layers towards the equatorial regions to the south are still relatively warm compared to the areas farther north. So these regions therefore continue to receive much more sunlight and energy from the sun, thus creating a high temperature contrast. So as the poles are getting cooler, this is translating into lowering the surface pressure there. So actually, this is pretty similar weather process that also happens in the stratosphere above it. The temperature difference between the North Pole and the equatorial areas increase. The result is the development of a large, low pressure cyclonic circulation across the polar stratosphere. Hence, this is why we call it the polar vortex. It's cool as shit, Jennifer. This stuff is,
Wow. It
yeah, it
is.
is cool stuff.
Yeah.
Really cool. And it is a very long article, but
Yeah.
if you want to go on or should we move on because this is
Well, I think, yeah,
look at.
I think we should move on
All right,
because
guys,
it
I'm going
keeps
to tell
going
you.
on, but
It's
it's
going to talk
there
about
to be
the
read.
bombs. Yeah, it's going to talk about the bomb cyclone. This whole article could be our whole show. But we
I
have
know.
we have we have a little bit more. So let's move on. And
Mhm.
well, I had a Twitter, but it was you're not going to hear anything. But what is it? It's just going to show really quickly. See,
Okay.
highest wind ever, 122. Wow, wow. All right, so
Isle
here
of
we
Wight.
go.
So, the
Yep.
Isle of Wight was not always an isle. It was connected to Britain, and of course, Britain was connected to what is now France, right? So the English Channel wasn't always there. Only about 8,000 years ago or so that it formed.
Huh. I'm going back to
Isn't
us
that
for a minute.
interesting?
Yes, I am back to us for a minute. So we are going to move on. And do you want to cover The Guardian?
Sorry?
Do you want to cover The Guardian?
Oh, okay. Yeah. The connection between you and me is a little bumpy.
Oh,
Okay, so how bad is Storm Eunice, and is it a result of climate breakdown? Now, I guess they instituted a red warning in Britain, and
mm-hmm.
it had Yeah, all these trees are wrecked. Now, this is a little bit of yesterday's news at this point,
Right.
but Storm Eunice is battering parts of the UK, felling trees, scattering roof tiles as forecasters warn of a significant threat to life.
And it
But
was.
is it, yeah, but is it caused by climate breakdown? And can we
Mm.
expect an increase in such disruptive storms? I think the answer would be yes. Where has this
Arousing,
storm come?
yes.
Arousing, yes.
Arousing,
So
yes.
this storm came up from the Azores. It was spun out from the Azores towards Europe, and it caught the jet stream and whomped it.
Womp. It whomped
Whomped.
it.
I think the Azores are so interesting. Oh my
Wow.
God. But that's another topic for another day. But I'm like all about the
We're getting
Azores
there.
these days.
Oh, are you? Oh,
Yeah,
the Azores. Well, we're going to go somewhere,
yeah.
Jennifer. So
We will.
the Guardian goes all through all this stuff, but did you
Yeah.
want to show the Guardian has everything. Look at it about the
Yeah.
weather for you guys. I mean, maybe it's mainstream, but we do go over the mainstream stuff to show you. Not super mainstream, but the Guardian, I guess, is
Yeah.
considered mainstream, but they can afford good
Very mainstream.
climate change and weather reporters, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and whether Eunice is linked to climate breakdown, they do pose the question. It was said, this forecaster at MetDesk, although it is hard to pinpoint climate change as a reason for individual severe weather events, climate models do indicate an increase in these type of storms as the Earth continues to slowly warm.
Hmm.
So this is very much in line with what climate scientists have been warning us about for a number of years. Yeah, you betcha.
You bet ya.
Yeah, you betcha. We've been
Where
warning
are
you.
we?
Well, I'm not a scientist, but a lot
No,
of people have
we
been
are
shouting at the
citizen
top of
scientists.
we're
We are,
citizen scientists.
Jennifer, we are citizen scientists, and both of us are proficient in researching things. I mean, and not
Yeah,
just Google research, although what we provide here is more mainstream, and if you want more in-depth research, go to Paul Beckwith. But seriously, we like to go through what the mainstream is
yeah.
telling us, and it's changed so much over the years. 5 years ago, we had a hard time getting all the articles. Now it's every day,
Oh, you
so
couldn't
many.
find it.
Right.
We're
So,
spoiled for choice. We have to pare it down. We have like
yeah.
30 times
But
as
that's a
much
good
as we
thing.
can go through. Yeah, no, there's a lot more coverage on this stuff than there ever
But is it
used to
going to
be.
make
That
a,
is
a, a difference?
absolutely true.
Is it going to make a difference?
Well, no,
That's the
but if
question.
but as you're going down the toilet, you're going to be informed.
I guess. Yeah, you're
Is there
right. You're
anything good
right.
about that? I mean, no, it does pose a philosophical question. To know or not to know, that is the question, right? Should we
Yeah, and
know? Should
everybody
we
in
not
our
know?
chat knows. And if you're
Hmm.
new in the chat, you will learn because if you put the everything together from what you are
Oh yeah,
reading from all these mainstream kind of things and not so mainstream, they all put it together, but nobody wants to say it. Nobody
yeah.
wants to come out and say it. Sorry, you're shit out of luck. Nobody wants to come out and say that.
Get
They're
out
not
of
going
luck.
to. Yeah, well, they're not going to come out and say it.
Yeah,
So, should
no.
we go back to that article
I
and
I just
finish it
I
up?
yeah, I just gonna read one more sentence, the last sentence. Yet with more intense rainfall and higher sea levels as human-caused climate change continues to heat the planet, flooding from coastal storm surges and prolonged deluges will worsen still further when these rare explosive storms hit us in a warmer world.
Mm. Oops.
Yay!
Oops. That's my fault.
Yay!
Yep. Well, a warmer
So,
world we have. A warmer world we have. Well, hey, I don't know if we have any friends here from Scotland, and I'd sure like to cover that stupid ad completely. Uh,
Yeah.
um, we have here AccuWeather, which is telling us right now that Franklin is causing gale force winds with severe and damaging gusts, and these winds are combined with very high seas. So there's also wave overtopping and a lot of coastal flooding. Oh, that's not there.
Yeah.
So that was AccuWeather. I was just doing a search
Yeah.
to see what was happening there,
Yeah.
but this
To
is
see if
not.
you could catch Franklin in the act is
Yeah,
what you did.
actually, is it? Let's
Yeah.
see. Well, let's see. Severe weather. I'm going to see if we can find anything on here on AccuWeather. Hurricane tracker and active storms, all oceans. It's acting kind of wonky. That's a hurricane. Oh, look, there's a little hurricane. Um,
Huh.
Warning. Wait, I'm going to move over to the Eastern Pacific. Let's see what it does. Can you guys see this? Because I'm trying to get this to move up. It's really very wonky. All right, well,
I vote for moving on.
all right, because I am playing. We're going to move on. But anyway,
I vote
AccuWeather
for
is
moving
probably
on.
it's not the greatest for finding things like this
Yeah.
that we want to find. So let's talk about Brazil and what's happened in
Okay.
Brazil and what's happening. It's going to
And
come to
Madagascar.
Madagascar. Yes,
Yeah.
it's why don't you take it away here? This is the direct relief
Okay.
article.
Yep.
All right, you take it
Um,
away.
severe weather compounds challenges in Brazil and Madagascar. Madagascar suffered its fourth powerful storm this year after tropical storm Dumaco struck the island on Tuesday with heavy rains across, and I am not going to try and say the city name, region and wind gusts up to 56 miles an hour. 2 people have been reported missing. 5,100 people have been directly impacted. 900 have been displaced.
Mm,
This is kind of boring the way they wrote it. Let's see if we can spruce it up a little bit. This latest
go
storm
for it.
comes on the heels of cyclone Batsarai,
Mhm.
which killed 120 people. I mean, blink and you miss these things. I didn't know about Cyclone Batsarai. And Tropical Storm Anna, which killed 51 people. Oh my God.
Yeah. That's what our new
Yeah.
person that's here in our chat, Kim says. We have a new person from Brazil in the chat, and
Oh,
this is
great.
great because maybe we can
Great.
find him and ask a question. And because he did mention, I did see the comment about the 3 storms, and I knew we were going to cover this.
Yeah. The wind uh, from Storm Dumaco are not as strong as those from Cyclone Batsarai, but you have to be careful about floods and landslides, which could cause deaths. This was a guy who's Director General in Madagascar's disaster management relief. I think I want to skip down. I remember this article. Oh, it's not too long. It's not too long. Across the globe, Brazil has faced a series of storms over the past 3 months, resulting in severe flooding and landslides, which have affected more than 40 cities across multiple states. Yesterday, which is, I guess, a couple days ago now, Petrópolis, a city located in the mountains northeast of Rio de Janeiro, experienced a record 10.2 inches of rain in 24 hours, which
Wow.
can happen very easily with abrupt climate change events. That's not even that much. Yeah.
Wow.
Which bested the previous record of 6.6 inches set in 1952, right? The amount of rain was equivalent to a month's downpour in just 3 hours. Wow.
Where am I?
Which triggered flash floods and a landslide that
Oh,
killed
here.
110 people and left 400 people homeless.
My
Wow.
God.
Yeah, dozens still
My
missing.
heart feels for Brazil. Lucas. Hi,
Yeah.
Lucas. Coelho. Hi, Lucas. having trouble with crops and fishing season. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Thank you
sorry to
for
hear
being with
that.
us. We're really happy. Welcome. Welcome to Environmental
Yeah.
Coffee House. Thanks for coming. All right.
Yeah.
Where are you,
The
Jen?
situation is almost like war. Cars hanging from poles, cars overturned, a lot of mud and water. Search and rescue teams continue to respond and have saved 24 people so far. So, actually, not that many compared to how many died, right? According to the Brazilian government, more heavy rain is forecast for today. The landslides and flooding of Petropolis follow last December's flooding in Bahia that killed 21 people, and the January landslides in Sao Paulo in Minas Gerais, which killed more than 40 people. 2011, Petropolis area saw landslides and flooding, which killed more than 900 people. Oh, wow. So this has happened to this city before. It happened just 11 years ago. Crap.
Mm-hmm. And now I saw a video
Yeah.
that the one of the townswomen, she was just devastated. They have no place. You know, this is happening. They're going to be climate change refugees again in Brazil. You know, it's
Mm,
heartbreaking. We have photos from,
yeah.
I think this from the Al Jazeera. If you want to look at the Al Jazeera, we
Yeah.
have we have photos from this. I lost it. Okay, hang on, Jennifer. We're going to look at those, and it's just so sad. Okay, so let's look at these. This was I gotta close this chat. This was from Al Jazeera, and they were looking for. Well, they recovered a body here,
Mm.
and it was 94 people. Jennifer,
Oh my
94
God.
people. Yeah, that's
Ugh.
really sad. 94
Ugh.
people, and it's located in the hills. It's beautiful above de Janeiro, or the imperial city. It was the summer gateway of Brazil's monarchs in the 19th century. Gosh, all the
Mm.
history that washed away. On Wednesday, there
Mm.
was scant evidence of its regal charms after the floods ravaged its elegant streets and destroyed its dramatic buildings after rainfall on Tuesday exceeded the average for the entire month of February. In Moro
Mm.
da Oficina neighborhood, up to 80 houses were hit by landslides, according to authorities. 80 houses. And you know, I was talking about my stupid flood in my basement, which, and I had posted, it's nothing compared to the hardship and the horrors that these people are experiencing. Their city hall declared 3 days of mourning. Displaced people were being taken to schools and shelters. 300 people had to leave their homes. Oh my gosh.
Mm.
So look at the pictures. It's so sad.
Absolutely devastated. Oh my
The
God.
hell are they advertising for me? Jesus. Oh, wow. Look at that. My God. My heart just hurts for these people. My heart
Ugh.
hurts for all these people, you know, everywhere. What can we do? We can
Mm.
watch, and we are victims. I mean, I know that I'm the water table where I am is getting worse and worse.
Oh
Mm,
yeah.
mm.
Look at
And
what a mess. Oh my God.
what a mess. I mean, they're all, going to have to be relocated. The kids won't be in school. And we're still in a
Yeah.
pandemic. We're still in a
Well,
pandemic.
these things are going to happen again and again, and they're going to happen to these types of areas that are prone to it, that are on like
Sure.
hillsides, or they get like a rain bomb and they can't handle the water. So those places that are prone to this, like things that are in the valley and they're getting all of the rain from surrounding mountains, those villages and towns will get blown away.
Yeah. They are. Will are. when. How's the chat doing out there? We have one more. Oh, I see. They're talking a little bit about Russia and Ukraine. We're not going there
Are
today.
they?
We are
No.
not. We are not. What we are going to do, though, Jennifer, is you're going to start out with the UN because they're talking about major major
Okay.
upcoming, and I think that was a really good way for us to end by talking about, well, what the hell is what's the UN going to do for us? But let's talk about it because this is their
Right.
website. So Jen, you want to take it away?
Yeah. What to know about the UN's major upcoming climate change report? I'm sure we're all on the edge of our seat. A lot of this is going to be review for some of you.
Yes.
Two major climate science reports are coming soon from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the United Nations body that convenes hundreds of scientists from around the world to assess climate change science. The first report on climate impacts, adaptation, and vulnerability is expected in late February. So coming out this month, probably in a week or two, I would guess. The second on climate mitigation and solutions, Nicholas would be interested in that, will be published in early April. Our climate experts explain why these two reports are so important, what we can expect to find, and what they mean for climate action. Oh boy,
Climate action.
2021. Yeah,
Woohoo!
better act fast, baby. 2021 was one of the
Climate.
hottest years on record, and extreme weather events are increasing in frequency around the world, from
Oh,
dangerous winter storms to devastating hurricanes, floods, and wildfires. Climate change is also exacerbating other global threats like poverty and food insecurity, putting lives and livelihoods at risk in regions and communities that are already vulnerable. Given the challenges we face, having a comprehensive, up to date understanding of climate science is more important than ever. And then do something about it.
right.
I mean, it's one thing to know things, and it's another thing to do something with that knowledge you have, right? That's where the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, comes in. It's a gold standard climate science report, inform debate, and shape policymaking. 2018 special report is largely credited for shifting global ambition from limiting warming from 2.2 degrees Celsius to 1.5. Oh, they woke up and smelled the coffee on that one. Yeah.
Oh, I just woke up.
The next two reports can be critical for helping everyone to understand the impacts of climate change and develop solutions that benefit the environment and people alike. Well, anything you do is good, I guess. So, leading scientists assess the climate change impacts we are already seeing. The IPCC produces reports on the state of climate change every few years and is currently in its sixth assessment cycle. The two upcoming reports follow on the heels of last summer's report on the physical science of climate change, which UN Secretary Antonio Guterres called Red Code for Humanity.
Ooh,
Yeah, you
we
bet it's
know
a red
that.
code for humanity. The
Red.
next red
Blood
code,
red. Blood red.
code red for humanity.
Yeah, I
The
need a
next
code red.
report The next report will present an updated assessment of the impacts of climate change, our vulnerabilities to it, different options to adapt to address the effects of climate change, and how nature is adjusting to our adaptation efforts. Huh,
Huh.
interesting. Nature's adjusting to our adaptation? I don't see it, but I don't know.
And it shouldn't have to.
I mean, really, we've done enough. Haven't we done enough?
Yes, we have done enough.
Impacts of climate change include sea level rise and more severe storms, as we have seen, right? For example, while vulnerabilities cover such things as exposure to more intense heat extremes, adaptation refers to efforts that range from nature based solutions like restoring mangroves to protect coasts, to rewriting zoning codes to ensure that any new infrastructure is built a certain distance from wildfire prone areas. And while you're at it, why don't you go give a copy of this to Ron DeSantis down in Florida or something?
That's a good
Jesus
one.
Christ.
Jeez. Yeah, I'm
I'm,
telling you.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be so jaded, but
It's
I
okay. We're
I
jaded.
am.
We're jaded.
I
We're
am.
watching
I
the
am.
world
Yeah.
from the whereas Jennifer, we are like up on the moon watching what's going on. We are watching everything from such a high level that you cannot help but see the ludicrous, idiotic, sickening,
Just
crazy shit
ridiculous.
going on. End of story. Continue.
Oh,
Continue.
God. Produced by the IPCC's Working Group 2, this report will take a holistic view of impacts, adaptation, and vulnerability, assessing these topics at the global and regional levels. The report will stress the interconnectedness of Earth systems, that's good, from climate systems and weather to ecosystem biodiversity to human health. Well, I wonder if they'll mention methane in this upcoming one. That would be a good start.
I don't know.
Yeah. Arctic methane, guys. For instance,
It
drought
would
not
be.
only results in dry land and reduced plant growth, but also affects food production, which in turn has implications for livelihoods, nutrition, human health, and poverty. The report will also assess future risk from climate change at different warming levels. That went on high. It's warming fast, and will present options for how policymakers can adopt an equitable and interdisciplinary approach to climate change adaptation. A lot of freaking word salad for, I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. What's new in the IPCC's Working Group 2 report on impacts, adaptation, and vulnerability? The report will include new information on climate risks under various warming levels, such as risks to coastal communities, infrastructure, and livelihoods from sea level rise at different degrees of warming. So they're just putting out scenarios. You
Mm-hmm.
should pick the most aggressive scenario and figure out what the hell are you going to do. It will also explore how adaptation can contribute to climate change solutions and will address connections between climate adaptation and the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, while also pointing to the limits of, I'm sorry, Sandy. You know what I mean?
It's tough.
It's like,
I know. Do you think we should have SDG t-shirts made?
yeah. Well, there we go. Sustainable Development
ECHSDG.
Goals. These are
Yes.
my personal SDGs.
Yeah, we have
And
them
we
in
can
our
feel
homes.
very kind of self-satisfied,
Yes.
while also pointing to the limits of adaptation for humans and other species on our planet, like the poor Irrawaddy dolphin that
Right.
just
That we've
died
lost.
and became
Mm-hmm.
extinct. That species is now extinct.
There it is.
Additionally, the report will place greater emphasis on cities, which are increasingly exposed to climate change, and review opportunities for addressing climate change vulnerabilities and impacts. The report will also contain a global to regional atlas that will integrate the report's key messages. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great report. What can we say, Sandy? It's going to be a great
It
report.
will be a great report. They're all great reports,
Yeah,
whether they do anything for
yeah.
us. whether any. I mean, we've just had the last COP, and what's happening. I haven't heard much,
Yeah,
but we'll have to
yeah,
follow up. I guess we have to go out and follow up. Oh, look,
yeah.
Antonio's with us. He said, "Sup, guys." Hi,
Antonio!
Antonio. Welcome. Welcome.
Nice to see you, Antonio.
So, continue
I mean,
on.
it goes on. Okay, I'll continue.
Why
Experts
not?
examine how to slow climate change and prevent severe warming. Oh,
Oh,
we
boy.
have the answer. We have, no, stop the press.
Stop the
Don't worry about a
press.
thing. Everything's
Yeah.
fine. We have the answer. In April,
Yeah. We're driving towards it.
the IPCC's report on mitigation, produced by Working Group 3, will provide an updated assessment of climate change mitigation, greenhouse gas emissions reduction, greenhouse gas removal from the atmosphere, where we saw how well that worked out. We looked a little closer at that carbon capture facility, right? Complementing the Working Group 2 report, this report will highlight synergies and trade-offs between climate change mitigation and adaptation. The report will address all aspects of mitigation, including feasibility, cost, governance. Examples of mitigation include reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Boy, you betcha. Number one. Increasing use of renewable energy. True. And supporting reforestation in critical places like the Amazon rainforest. And stop cutting it down.
Well,
oh my God.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to reforest it if you didn't
Yeah,
like
well.
strip clear everything.
But if they leadership has to want
Yes.
that, and the leadership
Wow.
does not.
Well, that's right. What's new in the IPCC's Working Group 3 report on mitigation? So here it is, guys. Finally, we've got the answer. Hold on. So for the first time, the mitigation report will include a chapter on the social aspects of mitigation, drawing from behavioral science and exploring topics such as consumer behavior and cultural norms. Examples of relevant behavior, why people buy environmentally friendly products, or why they choose taking a bus versus riding the subway system versus driving a car, Okay, so they're talking about transportation. The report will also feature, the report will also feature a new chapter on innovation and technology. Oh, that's good. We're going to technolize our way out of it. And it will explore.
Is that a new word?
It will explore how to use, no, Sandy. It will explore how to use the SDGs to help shift development pathways towards sustainability. Well, that's good. We should be sustainable.
We shouldn't laugh. We'll get yelled at.
We shouldn't laugh. We will get yelled at. I know. I can feel it already. We're getting yelled at for not being serious. Additionally, the report will explore mitigation options that cut across sectors, including carbon dioxide removal techniques such as afforestation, replanting trees and forests to draw more CO2 out of the atmosphere. All of these are good ideas, but isn't this just a little bit too much too late, methinks? I don't know.
I mean, if I say, well, I hope something comes of it, that's hopium, and then I'm a clueless moron.
Fucking moron.
You said it. Clueless fucking moron.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right. We expect this report to review mitigation options across all sectors and activities, including energy, transport, industry, waste, and agriculture. Mitigation in the building sector will also be a focus, such as constructing and retrofitting buildings to be more energy efficient for instance, the use of energy efficient windows and insulation. These are all good things. These
They're
are,
wonderful
they are,
things.
don't get
And
me
they
wrong.
are happening.
They are,
They're happening in places all over the
yeah,
world. And that is a
they
beautiful
are,
thing. We will never say
yeah,
stop doing beautiful things. Never.
yeah,
Because there
no,
are. And Christopher
yeah.
Spavins, he planted 45 trees 3 years ago. And that, you know what,
Wow.
Chris? I'm going to give you the best applause. Thank you for sharing, because it is good stuff. And I'm going to plant trees this
It
year
is.
also. So we're not being,
Absolutely.
forgive us
No,
if we just get a little
no,
naive.
I need an attitude adjustment. That's what it is. Forestry is another sector with mitigation options, such as preserving existing forests and making efforts to restore deforested areas. The report also expected to examine climate change mitigation within the
So am I.
context of sustainable development, equity, and poverty.
I'm lost now. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Sandy, I think we should finish this
Well,
thing.
the thing is gonna. What's next? COP27. Okay, again,
Yeah.
the global stock take, the future of climate action. Let's look at this. Let's go down here. They're comparing
Okay.
the 20. How's this? The table is a breakdown. We'll just do this really quickly,
Okay.
and because Antonio's really our IPCC guy, and he's
He
in the chat
is.
going crazy. But the
Is he?
table, it's
Good, Antonio.
provides
Take
a
care of it.
breakdown. Yeah, take care of it. But here, so the working group for 2022 reports the topic: adaptation, impacts, and vulnerability. And this is my kind of stuff. I remember doing this at work. What topic and key questions and the timeline. Okay, so now for this month, they're coming out with all of these key questions. What options
Okay.
are available? Okay, so then the working group 2 is the mitigation. And this is their timeline by early April. What's the status of the current global greenhouse gas emissions? You guys can go read this report after. And then AR6 synthesis, the special reports on 1.5, 2018 land, 2019, ocean and cryosphere, 2019, working groups, and then all the working groups together come together.
Yeah.
And then early fall 2022. What are the overall findings of the ICs of the reports from the 6th assessment cycle, and what new conclusions can be drawn about the state of the climate and future change? There we go. That's a hell of a breath, and we are coming
Well,
back.
they're thinking about it and they're breaking it down to all the different possible parts and
Pieces. Yep.
and
Parts and
taking
pieces.
it on, and I have to say that's good. But then part of me is kind of like, and you see the whole picture, you're like, really? Is it gonna,
Well, when we
you
see
know
all
what I
this
mean?
catastrophic weather that's happening everywhere that we just
Oh
talked
yeah.
about, and it's not that, these events did not happen. They're just exacerbated because, as you always say, we are going in an exponential line, not a linear line, and
No.
and it may be too little too late, but we never want to take anything away from the children that are out there. I have one. So
Yeah.
you don't want to take it
Yeah.
away. So let's
No.
give it to them and say, let's see, Antonio, we should have been transitioning to a smart grid during the Clinton administration. We delayed the upgrades. He's talking about the smart grid. Green. We delayed them. They could have been something. It could have been a contender, right? Could have been a contender. Oh, could have been a contender. So that's really basically where we are. We took you from a video showing the tree loss in the UK. What did they say? 80 million trees from storms. I mean, the UK is going to have no trees. They're going to have no trees. And then we saw what's happened in Brazil, which is horrible. And there's just so much more that we can't even show you because there's just not enough time.
It's because abrupt climate change is really getting some lift now, and it's happening everywhere all the time. Just a different part of the earth is going off one week or another, Sandy. So It's
The
a
Jim,
big
yeah,
problem.
high reflect the sun. The Jim Webb telescope is remarkable, and those mirrors to block heat. We need a collaboration between all of that science. And wait, where did you go? All of that science and the great geoengineering minds. There is. I mean, they're collaborating. These people are genius, brilliant. They're collaborating. No matter what, there's going to be
Mm.
collaboration. There's going to be geoengineering. It's going to happen. Maybe not chemtrails, but there's going to be some form. Anything that is going to alter our natural. I mean, we've been geoengineering for years just by driving our car.
Mm.
Every time I turn on my car, I'm geoengineering.
I know. You don't need any help from Comtrails or whatever the hell.
Right. All right, let's see what the chat. Antonio says, but electrifying transport and energy generation is the most direct and clear cut way to reduce emissions. Quick food production and land use is another beast. Well, I think that the next show, Antonio will come on and he will talk. He will continue with
Yeah.
these because he is our IPCC planning guy, and that's
He
good.
is good.
Right? Yes, see, that's right. Of course, you're coming back to tell us
Yay.
that. All right, let's see. Gazer said, yeah, wishing we should have done something is far worse than not doing anything in the first place. Well, I mean, what can I say? Wishing we should have done something is far worse than not doing anything in the first place. Okay. I'm overwhelmed.
Mm.
Antonio, I am the IPCC. We know that, Antonio.
Antonio.
Antonio lives the IPCC. Yes. And guess what? It is great. We are empowered. But Jennifer and I both have reduced our carbon footprint. I've reduced
Oh,
mine.
yeah.
I don't go anywhere. I
Tremendously.
don't. I mean, we have, but there's so much more you can do, and you have to be able to afford it. So,
Yeah. And we're one of 8 billion people on this earth. And, you
right.
can take steps within your own life to cut out as much carbon as you can figure out how to do. And then you've kind of done that and you still have to live, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, but it's just like a trickle of a drop in an ocean. And I don't know, man.
I hear you, but I'm still doing my trickle. I'm getting ready to plant my seeds, and this year I think I'm going to put my camera on a tripod and make some videos of the whole process of planting inside and moving it outside and all that. Maybe we'll see if because that way I'm spending time doing those things I love, and we're still doing the channel because we'll all get into that again and sending me all the pictures of your gardens and I won't be such a procrastinator maybe this year. Who knows?
Yeah, and action is the antidote to despair. We know that. So it's important to stay focused, to put your head into something that's positive, something that's going to make you happy. And listen to Environmental Coffee House and all those other news sources as well. But don't just do that. Do other things that are positive, because otherwise it's just too sad for words.
And yeah, what overwhelms me is politics more than the climate disaster. I don't know why. I guess because I can understand the climate disaster more than I can even understand politics and human beings right now. I want to say things about human beings, but I won't. We'll stick with where we are. All right, guys.
Right.
Well, I'll be here Wednesday morning. The computer is holding on. I've got my ice pack under it, but we will be working on upgrading for the show. And so is Jen, and so I think we're gonna have to be a little bit consumer-ish if we want to continue this. And there you go.
There you go, Sandy. Another week and another bunch of abrupt climate change events. It's just amazing. And another extinction. Oh, that little dolphin, it really gets me. The Irrawaddy dolphin, the Mekong dolphin, he's gone. He's just gone. Look at that sweet little thing,
Yeah. I know.
And they lived in the Mekong for how many, probably millions of years, right?
A
Probably.
long time.
They lived in
Yeah.
that Mekong River going up and down, and then they got trapped because of all the dams. And then basically they just have that bit of river to live in. And then eventually you're gone. You're
I'll
finished.
tell you, I think the manatees are next in Florida. They're starving.
Hmm.
They can't, they're going. They're going to go. There won't be any manatees. We'll see. We'll keep doing our show and
Yeah.
showing what goes
there's a
extinct.
lot of there's a lot of heartbreak in doing this show.
Yeah,
It's always kind of satisfying from an intellectual level to understand
absolutely.
everything that's going on, but then there's just so much heartbreak. There's heartbreak at the human level, there's heartbreak at the species level, things going extinct. And you just do the best you can. Just keep on going on. We're here. We're
Felice
here.
Todd convinced me we can't stop the future of global climate change. Well, she was a great guest, and she's a physicist. She knows a lot. We're gonna have her back on.
Mhm. Oh, great.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to say goodnight. We have been an hour and 17 minutes. Jennifer, I love working with you. It was a terrible week. We didn't do a show last week, right? No, we just did the State of the Planet. And that was
Mhm.
great enough with the guys. All right.
No, it was great.
We love you guys. Thank you for everything. Uh, don't forget our little fundraiser doodad. And I'm going to play the goodbye music. And Jennifer, stick around for the post-mortem. How's that sound?
All right.
Okay.
See you next week, guys.